Just a little softer, but keep going right there. There's a shift going on. And everything I wrote down last night and this morning is nothing but summarizing everything that just happened here today. Because there's a shift going on. Just give me a couple minutes just to flow for a minute. There's a shift going on. People preach and they speak about moving up into new levels of God and new levels in this and new levels of that. But I don't want to move in new levels anymore. We want to move into a new dimension of the Spirit. And a new dimension of the Spirit. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, they talk about these old dry bones. And God asked a question, and he says, can these dry bones live? For God, that was a rhetorical question. It did not need an answer. The question was asked to spark your faith. Do you believe that these bones can live? That's in verse 3 of chapter 37. But in verse 2 they said that these are old, dry bones. That tells me that it was not the traditional raising of the dead which you've seen before. The body's been laying there for a day or two. Everything is still there, basically intact. No, he's saying that if you want me within you, and you say to me that I will follow you, God, wherever you lead me, and he leads me into the valley of the dead, dry bones, the graveyard, where your deliverance is supposed to come. See, the reason why he said the valley of the dead, dry bones, and he described it like that because these have been in the ground for some time now, which means there's a blessing in something in my past that has not caught up with me yet in my future. I have a generational blessing from 2 generations back that has not caught up with me. So I have to go where God told me to go and just stand and wait for my time to come, because something happened a couple of generations back that was supposed to come to. I believe I read somewhere when David said in the book of 2 Samuel, he was looking for a particular individual, and he said, bring him to me, because his father did right by me. So I'm going to give you a blessing you ain't got nothing to do with, but simply because you're a part of this man's bloodline. Simply because you're a part of his bloodline, you're going to get blessed. If you read the scripture properly, this young man was lame when they brought him before the king. He was fearful, didn't even know what was going on. But simply because your daddy did right by me, you and your generation are set for life. So God asked the question, can these dry bones live? I'm doing this to spark your faith, that you can believe that I can work through you to cause your inheritance to come to you. Does this make sense to anybody? Is there somebody over here that is waiting on something from God? You're not really hitting it. Is there somebody over here waiting on something? Is anybody in this section here waiting on something from God? So when he takes you to the place where everybody else says, you've lost your mind, you went to the graveyard, yes. And I dug up an old generational thing that God has got laying out there for me. And he told him to speak to that thing. And it started to come back together. And as it slowly started to come back together, we find out that this was the deliverance for all of the people, because he stepped into an area. He moved where he was dwelling to somewhere else. See, a lot of us were sitting in the same spot looking for something different to take place. Guess what? It don't work like that.